pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Signs and wonders will be in the air. The power will be in the atmosphere.
I must apprehend that for which I am apprehended of. You need to let loose. You need to let loose. You guys should go this way. Now, arise and go. You're going to pick out to be picked on, and you're going to be picked on until you act.
I'm going to tell you what it is that God can't do, what you say he can't do. I want the work you've done to speak for you. And what do you have to offer him?
Be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the word of the Lord. For as much as you know, your labor is not in vain, but he says, be.
If we really, really valued Christmas, I think we would act differently the entire year round. But if it's only about the gifts, then we get nice for a gift. We become just sweet to get a gift. Some of us become pitiful. Some of us become scandalous, swineless, spineless. You know, this holiday drives people crazy when it was never intended to do that. But the reason being is because we have captivated this holiday, and we did not take it under Christian consideration. We did not take it under spiritual consideration. We took it under personal consideration, and our own merits is what drives us on Christmas. And so we make it, when it becomes personal, if it's not Christian personal, if it's not spiritual personal, it becomes personality personal. Amen. And so here's the thing. If the reason for our redemption, God went through all that trouble, and God had to turn his back on his only begotten son in order that we may have a right to the tree of life, a right. He gave us a right. But in that right, it carries or carry over to more of the idea of that right being a privilege. A privilege. A right is a right in one sense, but it's a privilege in others. Some of the rights we the rights of free speech is the privilege we have in the United States. And so when everything else changed, God is the God that never changes. He gave his son. Listen. Anybody in here ever went through the trouble to raise a child to die? Can you imagine how that could be? When you know that even Simeon told Mary, and this sword shall pierce even your heart. Why? Because you have birth, will nurse, and take care of a son to lose him. Now that brings to a reality the truth about all of us. Our children are loans. They're not yours to abuse or to do what you want. As much control as you think you have, and as much as they look like you look like somebody too. So who are you to take ownership of your looks? You didn't author it. You ain't gonna finish it. So then the same person that gave you your parents gave you your child. You're just somewhere in the middle. Mismanagement of that can carry some hard consequences. That's why Joseph and Mary couldn't say much when they said, we done looked all over for you. And he was like, why did you look all over for me? How could that happen? Both of y'all know how I was born. Where else would you think I would be? In the disco? Over somewhere playing poker? Where did you think I would be? At 12, on the playground. Some of us are 35 and we still on the playground. So you have to put this into context. Jesus came to die. Oh man, y'all not getting that. Remember that phrase where I just told you, Jesus came to die. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are your days numbered? And what is the expectation that you're supposed to get in that amount of days? Surely God knew exactly how long. I'm sure he had a calendar of things because Jesus kind of told us that he was on God's schedule. He said, I do always those things which my Father tell me to do. So obviously he knew the calendar for the times he was supposed to do things because his Father had told him to do things. He didn't come back saying, the Lord said. No, he came back quoting, standing in the position of his Father. He said, you've seen me. And so what he was doing, he was laying down the rules. All right, I'm going right over the same one. 9 and 6, ready? For unto us a child is born. Hey, look, he did not say unto Mary, a child is born. Unto us a child is born to be celebrated. Otherwise, unto us. The Father used to go and pass out cigars, cartons of milk or something. He used to go and pass out something because what? He was celebrating the birth of a child. So a child is given means that we are all celebrating the birth of a child. This is why Christmas exists, because we're celebrating the birth of a child. Because a child unto us, a child is born. Now the next one is the kicker. Unto us a son is given. The day he was born, it was already set in stone that he would die. Unto us a son is given. The child is born, but the son is given. A lot of times we don't understand that God gave his son the day he was born. And he said, son, on your way to the cross, for you will surely die for man's sins. But on your way there, I want you to have a good attitude about teaching, healing, and displaying the love and the power of God. On your way now to this vicious death, on your way to taking on the sins of the world, on your way, I want you to be humble in spirit and standing up for what the principles are for which you were born. Now, you may not learn this from Joseph or Mary, but you're going to learn this through your own interventions because you are me. And once you become a lad, that's when everybody going to see something start happening. And when he was 12, which 12 is the age of becoming a lad. You kind of like a young man then. And then he showed up in the temple and he sucked out of every smart person there everything they had to say. Not that he had to agree with it, but he had to know how to fight against certain things that came up. That's how he knew how to deal with the Pharisees, Sadducees. He knew how to deal with the rulers of countries. He knew how to deal with them because he sucked it up when he was 12 and he disappeared for 18 years. For 18 years, he disappeared. It took God 18 years to get all the God in Jesus. Y'all not hearing me. 18 years, God was working on him. He didn't let you see what he was doing because that was the tree of life. And that was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Everything that was in the garden was being put in him because what was lost in the garden. And what will be found again will be found in the garden. God went from garden to garden to get this thing straight for us. God to something, Reb. He uses garden. Why? Because garden is where gifts are grown. God used gardens, man. You are a plant. He said a good sower. The sower soweth the seed. Where you going to sow them? In a garden. Come on, folks. And the thing that works against us is free will. Free will is not free. Free will is not even freedom. We come under bondage by free will. Look at how much you pay on your credit card every month. That's what the action of your free will did. When the engine on your car blew up because ain't no oil in it, that was free will. That car did what it could do until you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Jesus had as free will as any of us. He could have said, the heck with this. You know what? I'm just going to live it out. I'm just going to ride this thing out, preach a sermon every now and then and go on. Jokers out there, they didn't pack no food. They should have known better, man. Let them jokers starve, man. Hey, apostles, y'all come on in here, man. Let me multiply this fish, and we all have a feast right here to ourselves. No. He came to show us what we are capable of doing if we can just obey. If we can just simply obey. But we can't even obey Hebrews 10:25. Somebody want to read that? All right. Hebrews 10:25 says, and forsaking not the assembly of ourselves together as the manner of some is. Read that out the Amplified, please. Ready? I thought y'all waiting on me to get it, right? Okay, read it out the Amplified. Ready? Read loud and clear.
Not forsaking or neglecting to assemble together as believers, as is the habit of some people, but admonishing, warning, urging, and encouraging one another, and all the more faithfully as you see the day approaching.
Now, as you can see, even in that saying, there's an urgent voice. There's an urgent undertone that's telling us, you don't forsake this. This is important stuff. But like I had said Sunday, there are some people, man, that they can go forever and never show up, and you'll never know they're a member. And then they show up right at the end of their tenure talking about, I'm PCS. And well, heck, I thought you had a PCS. Why are you telling me? Your point is? I mean, you cannot expect to be irrelevant in your works and then relevant in your reward. The gifts are given, but some of us snatched out our hankies, took that gift, wrapped it up in it, and went and buried it. So that when God come back, we give God only what he gave us. And we had no productivity whatsoever. None whatsoever. Now that teaching is coming. We'll talk about that one later on. But the fact of the matter is, what I'm saying to you is, Jesus said, I do always those things which my Father commands me. So the thing about it is, Jesus' life was orchestrated. Everything was by purpose. Every place was by strategic design. And we always have to understand that when God do something, he's doing it for a reason. When we go through something, we go through it for a reason. Jesus was persecuted to the degree that they were planning on pushing him off the brow of a cliff. And he just walked through them. I mean, he had supernatural power. He argued with them until they got senseless, and then he just walked through them. Let me show y'all something. Y'all ain't pushing nobody off the cliff today. But it took 18 years of getting himself together. He went out looking for no speaking engagements. Even though that one when he was 12, he impressed all the people in there. Even though he was sopping and sapping from them, he was making more sense out of what they were saying than they could make. And then he just disappears. You know, a lot of them probably died wondering, whatever happened to that little kid that was in there that day? Wonder where he went. 18 years. If they was old, they were very old by the time he came back out again. They probably wouldn't even recognize him when he came back out again. But 18 years behind the scene. He wasn't talking about, I'm all that. Yeah, I went in there and showed them something. I need another speaking engagement. I'm going to write to churches and call some churches and send them my resume and my pedigree. What kind of pedigree can you have at 12? Matthew 2. And so a lot of times we conduct ourselves in a way where we can't be taken seriously. And you notice that in those years that Jesus couldn't be taken seriously, I want you to think about your child's life. If you have a child that's, let's just say, between 12 and 25, I mean, they'll make some good moves, but would you want to tell anybody about all the crazy moves that are made between that time? They go through the stank period of adolescence. Then they go through the nasty period of I'm grown now and you can't tell me nothing. They go out there and get towed up in all kinds of trouble. And, can't nobody tell me nothing. And then as soon as they done messed it up so bad, somebody got to come rescue and they got thrown it. Daddy, mama. You see what I'm saying? They go out there and they do stuff because they're not capable of thinking ahead. So God just kind of like hid Jesus. We don't know what he was like as a teenager. We don't know what he was like in his early 20s. We don't know what kind of stuff he might have messed up. That ain't for you to know. It's the outcome. And so what I deduced out of that is from 12 to, I ain't going to tell you you got to do that. I'm just saying it seems like a good prescription. Between the age of 12 and 30, shut up. Just shut up. Don't have no opinion about nothing or anything. Just try to love God and love the Lord with all your heart, mind, and soul. And maybe you'll be a pretty good adult by that time. You can break yourself from the fringes of your inheritances on the natural side. But a lot of times we can't do that simply because we're too influenced. We're too influenced by trends and fads. We're too influenced by languages and what people are doing. Some of us need to get a house built like an iPhone because we always up in it. So what Jesus did was give us a reprieve from our humanity to teach us that there was something greater than our right now. Even if our bad habits got us to our right now, we're still greater than our right now, and the greatest part about us is still ahead of us. But if we don't do something about our consistent failures and falling, then we'll never be able to be, listen to me, you won't be eligible for the future. Because something about our minds, something about our attitudes must change, and they must change now if we are to consider our future. Our futures vary in longevity. And we're going to have to figure out what do we want to do and when we're going to start trying to do it. And we have to have a single focus. People, faith is not scattervision. See, let me tell you something. Doors opening and doors closing is a matter of one's own attitude. What doors closed to Jesus? Answer me that. What doors closed to Jesus? As bad as he was hated, what doors closed to him? None of them. You know why? Because he had a pinpoint visual perspective on where he was supposed to go and when he was supposed to get there. And so the thing about it is, if your attitude is pointed toward, directly toward, what your purpose is on this earth, no doors can ever close to you, no matter how bad people hate you. The doors cannot close because the commander of those doors is who you're working for. And that's why he was exalted high above all principalities and power, because of his pinpointed, purposed vision or focus in which he had in order to get from birth to death. And he had to be willing to embrace both. See, purpose is not being born unaware and then just trying to have an idea at the end. Purpose is a consistent level of knowledge about oneself from life to death, from birth to death. And that's why it's so important when parents teach somebody, they need to always teach them exactly where they're supposed to be going. That's why it's to train up a child in the way they should go, that when they're old, they will not depart from it. That if you do a good job teaching them, it'll bring them back around. They'll act stupid, but they'll be so glad they got that tail whooping at one point. They'll be so glad they got that scar, and they'll be so glad they got grounded. They'll be so glad they got this and that. But a joker that never got that, man, you set them down as a minister, and they just act a fool. You got grown, little old, stank adolescents who still have a high school mentality, but have a grown-up desire to lead. If you're going to be a leader, you got to be the last one run away. You can't lead people and be the first one running. George, oh, that ain't working out. This was a bust. I'm going. You got to have some kind of groundings. And Jesus is our perfect example. I mean, even as a child, he knew he had a purpose. He knew he had a purpose. That purpose was that I can't let people die. People that I have not even met. Oh, let me get to this so I can just get this out the way. Come on now. Matthew chapter 2, you there? Amen. All right, let's go to verse 11 and 12. Ready, read. And when they were coming to the house, okay, don't be deceived by the house. They was in a barn. But any structure is a house. Okay? Okay, keep on reading. So now we see that the gifts came because of the satisfaction that you were in possession of a secret that was still yet hidden from some people in the world. The gifts was given because they understood who he was. They understood who he was. That's why they gave gifts. Some people that don't go to church at all don't respect God, but once a year, they was expecting a gift. These men had traveled through different lands and countless distances. They had went out their way to find Jesus. Y'all not hearing me? They went out their way to find Jesus. Okay, read verse 12. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed. Can God tell you who not to be around? Can God actually tell you what kind of people you should not be hanging around? You know, because God warned them who not to go back around. God told them, don't even go back around this joker. Well, let's go back there. Go to Genesis 22. Verse 22, let's start at verse 1. It came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here I am. You know, if God said that in a church one morning, and he called certain names, and they didn't get no answer, why would God want to go any further with him? Because to serve God requires an answer. He did it with Abraham. He did it with everybody. And when he called their name, they had to say, here am I. All the way through Samuel. Here am I. Did it with Jeremiah. Here am I. If you ain't in a place to answer God when he calls, he has no reason to go any further with you. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac. Now, I'm telling you something here. Take thine only son Isaac. Because I'm not going to ask you to do anything as a father that I'm not willing to do as a father. But I have to have a physical, earthly, some faculty in order to replicate for the sins of humanity, licensing it to happen on the earth.
At Life Changes New Horizon, we'd like to thank you for joining us to hear and receive a phenomenal word from God. Please visit our website to order the message you've just enjoyed or choose from thousands of sermons available for purchase. You can order this revelatory teaching on cassette, CD, or DVD. For more information on Life Changers Ministries, go to www.lifechangersmi.com or call 1-877-524-9673. Life Changers. We are shining the light all around the world.